subscribe.
Have you ever traveled across space-time and dimensions to battle an interdimensional demigod hell-bound on eating the souls of the girl you love? Did you have to travel back to your own dimension and live without her, while staying in love with her only until you die? Well, I have. Let me tell you how it started. On a cloudy afternoon in midwinter, I was in a coffee shop madly clicking away at my laptop's keyboard. The next chapter of my book was almost done, and I had had a creative breakthrough recently and wanted to punch out as many chapters as I could while it lasted. I smiled victoriously as I finished my third chapter for the week. I put my laptop into my backpack and zipped it up with a satisfied smile on my face, slung it around my back, and walked happily out of the little coffee shop in North Everett. Tonight, I would smoke a little weed like a king. Always good to reward yourself, right? I walked into my little apartment and happily slung my backpack onto the floor by my door. My cat Joe Bob Briggs, or Briggs for short, happily runs up to greet me. I pick him up and cuddle him as I go about my routine. A while later, going to fetch my laptop, I opened up my backpack to find a book that I'd never seen before on top. The only word on the cover was the name Kyra. I opened the book to find it was a diary or a journal of sorts. March 8th, 2025. The personal journal of Kyra to document the end of the world. No one is really sure where he came from, or can you call it a he? It looks male enough, it sounds male, but it wears no clothes and its skin is pure black, like an empty abyss, void of anything. Its body void of any real human sexual autonomy, just leathery. His eyes are even blacker than an empty abyss. When you look into them, you can feel the abyss entering your soul. This is how he chooses who is next. He allows us to live in our houses, live normal enough lives. We're given small amounts of ration, barely enough to survive. We go to work in the mines, we come home, we worry and wait. He can teleport instantaneously, and people say he can even sense every human in any moment. He walks around all day across the entire world, pushing his abyss into others and finding what souls feel the tastiest next. I've seen it happen 5 times now, and unfortunately, I fear I'll have to see it many more times before it's my turn. He slowly consumes the world. Children don't last long. He really seems to like them. And honestly, his appetite only seems to grow with every soul he consumes. As I finished reading the last line, I feel my feet being pulled out from underneath me. Time, space, and all senses lost meaning. Then as they returned, I felt myself being stretched to the limit. If it didn't end, I knew I would be torn apart in all directions. And then as soon as it began, it all ended. I stood in front of a house in a broken neighborhood. There were no lights anywhere. Every car looked abandoned and decrepit, like they hadn't run in years. The houses, while technically functional, seemed to be fare a little better than the cars. You can tell weather and time had taken their toll, and that there was no one doing upkeep. After the shock wore off a bit, I started to process my situation. I hadn't even smoked anything yet. There was no way this was some drug-induced psychosis. I don't even bother to pinch myself. I just straight out punch myself as hard as I can in the face. Definitely not sleeping. What has happened here? Why did this world seem so broken? There was a feeling in the air like the heart and soul of this place was slowly dying. I could sense there was life, just some weird feeling. But it felt like the energy was literally being slowly drained out of it. And something new suddenly happened. Something I'd never experienced before. It's as like something opened up in me, and I could sense everyone and everything around me. I felt the pain of the world as I could feel it slowly dying. My heart broke as I filled with a dread. I'm not sure what's going on, but something really bad has happened here. And then I felt something much worse than the pain and despair. Something so black not even Satan could compare. Whatever this thing was, it hated life. Beyond hated. I can't even describe the malice and contempt this thing felt for every living thing. And then something appeared in front of me, and I felt something else new. Like something reaching into me, trying to take my very soul. And I could feel that whatever this thing was, if it succeeded, there'd be nothing left of me. I felt it consume me. I almost lost myself to it. But then I felt a woman. I felt loneliness, pain, despair, and worst of all, no hope. And the longing filled me with rage. I pushed back, and now instead I felt myself inside of it, and I filled it with my rage and compassion. And it hurt. It bled inside, and it couldn't stand it. The righteous fury made it scream, and then it vanished. I could still feel it, sense it in a way. I knew it wasn't dead. And even worse, I could tell it was infuriated. I knew it would come back for me. As my own rage began to subside, and I was alone, it was replaced with pure dread. I had been brought to another dimension, maybe. I'm not too entirely sure. And I'm not sure what's going on with me, but I think I know why I was brought here. I have to fight this entity, this thing, and I'm not sure if I can. Worst of all, if I lose, I'm sure that there'll be nothing left of me. And even worse thoughts creep into my mind. Whoever that woman I felt was, I know if I lose, I'll not only lose myself, but eventually it will get to her. I know I couldn't let that happen. So I opened myself up to this connection, and I feel it. I calm the dread that has been feeling inside of me and block it out. Then I push out, search through all the pain and despair, searching for her, and the small connection broke through all the pain. And as I concentrated on it, using all of my power to block everyone else out, and then some connection, and I turned what I'm pretty sure is south. I'm not ready for this, but I can't leave from here either way, so my best hope lies in finding this woman.